Good evening. I apologize. Trying to get the right prop. But my name is Seth Leonard. I'm a teacher here at William Penn. I'm really excited about this year. One reason is because I'm at my alma mater. This is a school district which I attended growing up from elementary to middle school. And now to be able to make impacts at the high school level here is extremely humbling. But I'm a student at Wilson College, and I'm in a special education master's program. I'm taking special education 510, and I'm going to just break down some of the modules that we learned. If you have any questions, feel free to just plug it in the chat to the YouTube link, and bear with me. So one of the first things that I have to say is that I was not aware of how trauma really affected children within education. It was just an obstacle that I did not count because I haven't seen so much trauma growing up, even being in the urban area. But one of the arguments in Module 1 that we ran across in Sawyers and Hall's and Pete's work and reading was nature versus nurture. And obviously, nature being the genetic predispositions and how they contribute to sensitivity and stress, and how it can go from one generation to the next generation. The next one was nurture, talking about the environment, like the support systems, all being major contributors to if we are shaping resilient learners, and how there may be abusive situations that the child is dealing with that they're just vulnerable with. So it leads them to struggles in school. So I was totally eye-open when I was looking at some of the research and reading some of the passages with Sawyers and Hall, and just the importance how stress impacts them learning. As simple as that. But building resilient learners on the teacher side comes from creating a nurturing classroom. One that has a great atmosphere, where they're comfortable, where they feel safe. It may be a little bit different than their household, but where it has kind of like a family place. So I felt that I wasn't doing my best once reading some of the chapters and working through Module 1, and I automatically shifted some of my perspective in teaching, even in Module 1. So that was huge. So some professional implications, approaching each child with an individual lies in a holistic perspective. There were some students I was struggling with, and I just began to help them out with their needs, considering their experiences, biological traits, and the experiences that they have in life. Not saying that I expect you to be like me, but really just meeting them where they were at. So immediately I started to create a better and more safe and conducive environment in my classroom for them to learn and just be comfortable. So in Module 2, it was about creating a positive workspace for learning. As I shared with you, that was something that I did, and connection was a huge point of emphasis in this module. And one of the things it said was, for children to be successful, they need to feel like they belong. Again, an aha moment, and just stating, I deal with some of my students in this manner and some of my students in this manner. And although I wouldn't think I had any bias, there are. So I started to meet each kid where they were at. So one of the things that I took out of this module was being calm, peaceful environment, incorporating elements of nature where the brain can thrive. That was my new perspective. They need that sense of calm. One of the takeaways from this is a student that I did not have a great relationship with started to excel in his classes even outside of mine. So the power of relationships. One of the readings that we had was talking about Pete's practice in the book, where it was as simple as him saying good morning, and it drastically changed the outlook of their day. So I love the information. I love applying it within my classroom, and I've seen some positive results. So I'm really looking forward to continuing the classes here at Wilson. I have to shout out my professor. She did an amazing job this past year. But balancing the two pieces, also in Module 2, about availability and accountability. When students are struggling, being available to hear how you can help, but also, holding them accountable to surpass past the conditions that they may have. And often, they just need to know that we have a safe place and that there is structure and there's predictability with what we're going to be giving them in the educational setting. So I'm going to move into Module 3. Module 3 was about the importance of classroom management. This is something that I would say I super excel in. Even with me having multiple years in alternative education, I was a residential manager for halfway houses. Managing systems and managing people was something I excelled in, but it is much more challenging in the classroom, and I found out that through reading some of this information where some of my systems had to be kind of twisted. So classroom management is the backbone of a successful learning environment. And we all have diverse classrooms, whether it's rural, a suburban area, or an urban area. There's different challenges, but the one thing that we as educators they're looking for us to do is really engage, motivate, and prepare our students for the next levels of their success. So without strong management, disruptions can derail learning. It can take away from the effectiveness of the class, and just reflecting, shifting our thinking, looking at ways that our students can see us as a positive. We want the students to transition into us, but often we don't look to see things through their lens. So the exercise that was in this module that was really helpful for me was when it was talking about completing the following sentence in the book, and then with your own truths, and then your own words, and then some of the examples like I can't control the class in my own words, and then the outcome of that was, but I can control the class, so to say. So I really thought that exercise was a good exercise. So moving into Module 4, the impact of poverty on children's brain was another eye-opening module for me. Just all the information was very helpful, but I had no idea how poverty affects brain development. I knew that reading was essential, and kids in my area, in the urbanized area, typically don't get as many books read to them when they're young, so it affects their test scores. But I didn't know how deep it was in the neurological and the brain development. And what I learned is that children from low incomes often struggle with language and vocabulary and reading. A little bit more in depth. Why it matters is because the neurological pathways to learning all have to do with that. So my personal reflection on this was I need to do more. And then there was a great exercise where in Module 4 we had to locate the poverty line within our state, in our town, our city. I did not realize that the poverty line for one person was $14,000, roughly close to $14,500 for a person, just a single person household. I don't know how I would have been able to survive off of that. And that was eye-opening because a lot of our kids, their parents are struggling, or maybe they're not educated to be able to find work. Growing it up to 3, that number for poverty, the poverty line annually is 24,860, I believe. And the trend is that it goes up, I think, nearly 5,000 per additional person, roughly. It was really $870. But when you're looking at poverty line, we're comfortable making a $60,000, $70,000, some $80,000 lifestyle, and we have in urban areas that I teach, kids that are in households that they're not making really that amount. So it affects them with the food. It affects them with, if the lights are on. And those are serious issues where they're dealing with, and we're trying to stress to them the importance of ABCs and arithmetic. So that was another open eye and aha moment for me with the research that Sawyers, Hall, and Pete prepared. I really gravitated to. So we'll go into Module 5. One of the things in Module 5 was my inspiration for teaching. That's what I took mostly out of that module. There was a lot of self-reflective questions and information on, why am I here? It forced me to evaluate what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. And, one of my main things with teaching or with anything I do, I want to add intimate value to whatever organization, whatever student that I'm working with, and help them to, see where they're at, but also envision where they can be. So this module for me, what stuck out was really, adding meaningful value to each student and making sure that the trajectory for their success for their future is provided within my classroom with support and guidance. And so that's my personal mission, and this was more of a self-reflective module with some great readings. Some of my reflections was, do I prioritize my health and well-being so that I can give them what they need, because there was a huge emphasis on self-care, my heavy caseload, am I taking it home, and just things that I can do to make sure that I'm giving them what they need emotionally. So I'm gonna go into Module 6, the importance of self-care and in a demanding profession. Just piggying back off of Module 5, it means everything. I was just in a personal development session today, and they talked about the importance of just taking a break and shaking it out and breathing. And I try to, since being enrolled in this class, incorporate breaks, movement breaks, breathing breaks, and sometimes just breaks from the curriculum, that they can, because I serve emotional support, and sometimes I itinerant, but a supplemental level, and my kids, they are put to stress over a lot of things in the school, but also they're dealing with a lot of trauma outside. So trying to avoid burnout for myself and make sure that my sustainable emotions is one of the things that I took out of this, but also it goes with shaping the resilient learner. How can you make sure that you're taking care of yourself to go ahead and have a better outcome? So that was, really what I took out of Module 6, and just really, prioritizing my family and the needs that I have. And the fireside chat, I love that from Module 7. It was very open. It talked about a few of the things that we learned all throughout the modules, but one of the things that stuck out to me was when the professor was talking about co-creating the norms. That was an exercise that I had. I had a curriculum with social norms, very strict, kind of boot camp like, but we made it into a constitution. I said, hey, we can go this route and I can enforce these expectations, or you can incorporate some of your norms and what we should do in the class at the beginning of the year. And it was interesting that the students I haven't had too much behavior issues because of giving them that choice. I think that goes hand in hand with building resilient learners, and them being able to participate is something that they're looking to do. Kids want to learn. They're still very innocent in mind. They're still wanting to work hard, but they won't do it until they have those relationships. So this module sums it up, but I took so much out of it. Children want to learn, and I want to make sure that I'm a part of their personal reflection 10, 20, 30 years down the line as someone that helped change the trajectory of their future. As simply for reasons as they like you and trust me. So I appreciate you. I'm Seth Leonard. I really enjoyed this class, and I'm looking forward to more information to kind of better the lives of my students. Thank you.